So this is some work that I've been doing over the past year. We have recently seen quite a leap in accuracy over the past 3 years. From the time when Xanatakis presented his article in 2002 and his data sets that I presented this morning about 61% accuracy in a 10-class classification problem. And in 2006 with MIREX at that time, we had the approach by Bergstra et al. Getting 82%. This is 82% on the Xanatakis data set as well, but he also tested the algorithm on the ISMIR 2004. I think that was used in MIREX in 2006. And then in the past 3 years, we've had above 90% accuracies. So that's amazing. This is actually the reason why I got into this area, because it's using sparse representations. Sparse representation classification, and that's my area, and I was thinking music genre recognition, and above 90%, how can that be? Unfortunately, these 3 papers here the results are due to a bug in the code. So they're not above 90%. But nonetheless, having such a high classification accuracy is really contradicting the things that I think about music genre. Myself, I'm a composer, and I think about music in a way that genres, I believe, are human-made and are plastic and are often changed with reflection in history. And they're often not about the sound at all. So David Bowie singing wearing a particular costume and face makeup is glam rock, even though it sounds like the rock he was doing before. And East Coast and West Coast rap is somewhat sounds differently, but its large distinction is the geographic location of the artist. So why are these music classification systems working so well? And how are they working so well? And can they reveal something fundamental about how humans are categorizing music and perceiving music? So the question is, what are they really recognizing? So the 2 approaches that I studied in depth in this paper are the Bergstra approach and the sparse representation classification approach. So the first experiment I'm going to do is look at the actual errors that are being made. Find the instances of the excerpts that are being misclassified in a particular way. And are they sensible? Right? Does it make sense to misclassify that jazz piece as classical? The second experiment is, how hard is it to fool each one of these systems? So, because I'm listening to music over AM radio, it doesn't change the genre. Right? If I play the same music over AM radio to my classifier, is it going to confuse the genre for something else? And the third experiment is, I'm going to have each system compose music that it thinks is highly representative of each genre. They're going to have humans listen to each one of those and say, oh, that's definitely metal, that's definitely country, and see how much they overlap. So first of all, I'm interested in the persistent errors. And here I consider 3 types of errors. So a good error is, it's a correct label for a mislabeled excerpt. So in Xanatakis, we have several mislabeled excerpts. If the classifier is able to say that's a hip-hop excerpt when it was labeled disco, I find that's a very good error. The second error gets this sort of frustrated emoticon face. We can hand wave away the wrong label because, it may be Cajun, and Xanatakis doesn't have a Cajun element in the data set, so it was okay to make a decision that it was wrong. And then a bad error is something that's unforgivable if genre is being discriminated. So here we have some 10 times out of 10, this excerpt here is misclassified as pop. But let's hear that excerpt. So that's 1989, you heard that earlier. It's 10 years after disco died in the United States. And I think it's a great result of this classifier mislabeled it as pop. I don't consider that in any way an error on this part. And here's another one. Mislabeled. It's, I missed the hip hop part.
I said a hit.
Okay, so it says 10 out of 10 times that's hip hop. So I think that's a pretty fine error to make. Now let's look at these are the errors. We have Heatwave, known as a disco band, but always and forever.
It came to me that somehow came true.
So R&B, maybe soul. There's no R&B or soul category in this. I would be be hard-pressed to put that in disco, even though Heatwave is a disco group, but it says 10 out of 10 times it's country music. So I'm going to hand wave that away and say, you know, that's okay, Adam Books, that you did that, because you have no other category to put it in. This is a forced choice paradigm. And this one, it says, is classical 10 out of 10 times.
After all these years, no sunshine,
Barbra Streisand,
no moonlight,
Diana Summers.
no stardust, no sad romance.
Two disco divas, but not really any disco influence, not really any disco in that excerpt, even though the last 8 minutes of that song is raging disco. It's just a very bad excerpt. It's been extracted from a very bad portion, a non-representative portion. And it says it's classical. I think Adabos deserves a pass for that. Here's bad airs for what it did. You Better Do It Salsa by the Gibson Brothers is pop. Boogie Nights by Heatwave is pop. Theme song to many disco movies. And then the other LaToya Jackson, this song also comes from that same LaToya Jackson album, and it says that is definitely 10 out of 10 times disco.
When I look into your eyes, I feel the magic deep inside. Oh.
So how that can be more disco than the previous one that was definitely pop is confusing to me. And then here's some other bad airs. Dancing Queen by ABBA is definitely rock. And Disco Duck is definitely rock. And then let's go to the other classifier. So Surcam makes also the same sort of, it says that is definitely pop, LaToya Jackson, 1989. Also, it found this one, interesting one, Wordy Rapping Hook by Tom Tom Club. It says it's definitely hip hop. So-so error of putting that No More Tears excerpt into the classical section. But for the bad airs of Surcam, we have Funky Town by Lips, Reggae, and Kung Fu Fighting is definitely hip-hop. Okay, but we do see one good thing for Surcam. It passes the disco duck test, and it said that's definitely disco duck. So each one makes unforgivable errors as if it was actually discriminating based on genre. So here's my second experiment, which I think really drives home the point. Can we trick these classifiers into picking this, choosing completely different genre labels for the same music? So I'm going to create a filter bank, randomly select some of these to turn off, filter the excerpts, and classify. And to explore this, I'm going to use Bob Wills and Texas Playboys.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown.
So all the classifiers said that's definitely country, which is okay. It's Texas swing, actually. And here are the results. Here's the pop version of that song.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all.
And the jazz.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down.
And rock.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go.
And the reggae version.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down.
And so on and so forth. Here's the metal version. So it took out everything. And then for Surcam, we also see the same sort of behavior. Most of these are not really strong filtering. It would be like hearing it off of my PC speakers up there or off of AM radio. So I've repeated this experiment with Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe and Symphony of Destruction, and another even an element that the systems have seen, and they all exhibit this behavior. They are choosing completely different genres by with just simple filters. So this tells me evidence that each one is not discriminating based on genre. Now for the final experiment, I've taken 1,200 of the sample loops from GarageBand, and these are associated, definitely associated with the genres in the Xynotakis data set. Hip hop, rock or metal, reggae, organ. And I'm going to randomly select 4 and mix them together to create a 30-second excerpt. And then I'm going to classify each one of those at a random composition, and I'm going to keep it as representative if the posterior found by the AdaBoost approach is greater than 0.999. So it's extremely confident that that is that genre. And for SEERCAM, I've got this, it has to be 1.7 times the confidence value of the next largest class. And this results about 1 in 5 excerpts that I create randomly is representative. Now, can humans able to recognize the 10 genres in the Xynotakis data set? Can they recognize these representative excerpts? So the null hypothesis is that they will not be able to recognize the genres, and I choose a significance level of 5%. And I first screen the participants with 10 real music excerpts to make sure they know what they're talking about when they can identify jazz, discriminating blues and jazz, classical. And then I test on the excerpts that are composed in collaboration with each system. So 20 people passed the screening test out of 50. So there's some young kids at my school that had no idea what disco was. And the number of correct answers was about 2, which is what we'd expect with a random number. But we find no statistical significance. We cannot reject the null hypothesis. And there's no significant difference between these 2 test sets. So the SEERCAM examples are not better than the AdaBoost representative excerpts. So let's look at some of the confusion matrices that we have. Again, the columns are the true labels. So 65% of the respondents said this excerpt, which was supposed to be disco, was blues. So to AdaBoost that set, that is definitely disco. And 70% of the respondents thought this reggae excerpt was jazz. And then here we have for the SEERCAM approach, a lot of people said, I asked them, how do you think you did on that last part? And I said, well, I definitely recognized this country bit, and I know that one I got right. But SEERCAM says that this is definitely reggae. It's a lot of fun to be had with those examples. So we cannot reject the null hypothesis. It's apparent that the humans aren't recognizing the same sorts of things that these classifiers are. So why look deeper when a system has extremely high classification accuracy and human-like confusion tables? Well, the unfortunate thing is we can't assume a system is working based on the same principles that we use to discriminate genres. And we can't assume that the data set has integrity. So I say neither system appears to be recognizing genre. We have bad, consistent, and persistent misclassifications. We have major swaps of genre just from minor filtering, and the representative excerpts aren't representative at all. So neither system appears to solve or even address the problem, even though their accuracies are quite high.